Mr. Cargon? Frederick Treves, you're a new lecturer in anatomy.
Age 31. Books on scrofula, applied surgical anatomy. I'm happy to see you rising, Mr. Treves. I like to see merit credited, and your industry, accomplishment and skill all do you credit. Ignore the squalor of Whitechapel, the general dinginess, neglect and poverty without, and you will find a continual medical richesse in the London hospital. We study and treat the widest range of diseases and disorders, and are certainly the greatest institution of our kind in the world. The Empire provides unparalleled opportunities for our studies, as places cruel to life are the most revealing scientifically. Add to our reputation by going further, and that'll satisfy. You bought a house?
Yes, on Wimpole Street.
Good. Keep at it, Treves. You'll have an FRS and 100 guinea fees before you're 40. You will find it is an excellent consolation prize.
Consolation? I don't know what you mean, sir.
I know you don't. You will.
Happy childhood in Dorset. A scientist in an age of science and in an English age an Englishman. 2 books published by my 31st year, and a teacher and a doctor at the London, and a house and a wife who loves me. Consolation for what? As of the year AD 1884, I, Frederick Treves, have excessive blessings, or so it seems to me.
Tuppence only, step up and see. This side of the grave, John Merrick has no hope nor expectation of relief. In every sense, his situation is desperate. His physical agony is exceeded only by his mental anguish, a despised creature without consolation. Tuppence only, step up and see. To live with his physical hideousness, incapacitating deformities, and unremitting pain is trial enough, but to be exposed to the cruelly lacerating expressions of horror and disgust by all who behold him is even more difficult to bear. Tuppence only, step up and see. For in order to survive, Merrick forces himself to suffer these humiliations. I repeat, humiliations in order to survive. Thus, he exposes himself to crowds who pay to gape and yawp at this freak of nature, the Elephant Man. See Mother Nature uncorseted and in malignant rage. Tuppence.
Your sign's absurd. Half elephant, half man. That's not possible. Is he foreign?
Right, from Leicester. But nothing to fear.
Well, in any case, I'm at the London across the road. I would be curious to see him if there is some genuine disorder. But if he is a mass of papier-mâché and paint, however...
Then pay me nothing. Step up, sir. Merrick, present yourself, you bloody donkey.
I must examine him further at the hospital. Here is my card. I'm Frederick Treves. I will send a cab to pick him up and return him, and my card will gain him admittance.
5 bob, he's yours for the day.
Oh, but I wish to examine him in the interest of science, you see.
Sir, I'm Ross. I look out for him, get him his living. Found him in a Leicester workhouse. His own ma put him there age of 3. Couldn't bear the sight. Well, you can see why. He and I are in business. He is our capital, see? Go to a bank, go anywhere. Want to borrow capital, you pay interest. Scientists even. He's good value, though. You won't find another like him.
Fair enough.
Where's your money's from?
Right. Out here, Merrick, you bloody donkey! Out!
The most striking feature about him was his enormous head, the circumference of which was approximately the size of a man's waist. From the brow, there projected a huge mass of bone like a loaf, while from the back of the head, there hung a bag of spongy fungus-looking skin, the surface of which was comparable to brown cauliflower. And finally, on the top of the skull were a few long, lank hairs. The osseous deformity on the forehead, at this stage about the size of a tangerine, had almost occluded one eye. From the upper jaw, there projected another mass of bone. It protruded from the mouth like a pink stump, turning the upper lip inside out and rendering the entire mouth a wide, slobbering aperture. The nose was merely a lump of flesh, only recognizable as a nose from its position. The deformities rendered the entire face incapable of the expression of any emotions whatsoever. The back, if you will, please. The back was horrible because from it hung as far down as the middle of the thigh, huge sack-like masses of flesh covered by the same loathsome cauliflower stain. Thank you. The right arm was of enormous size and shapeless, it suggested, but was not elephantiasis, and was also overgrown with pendant masses of the same cauliflower-like skin. The right hand was large and clumsy, you could call it a fin or paddle, rather than a hand. There was no distinction to be made between the palm and back of the hand, and the thumb was like a radish, and the fingers were like thick, tuberous roots. As a limb, it was useless. In contrast, however, the other arm was remarkable. It was not only normal, but a delicately shaped limb, covered with a fine skin and provided with a beautiful hand which any woman might have envied. From the chest hung another bag of the same repulsive flesh. It was like a dewlap suspended from the neck of a lizard. The lower limbs had the characteristics of the deformed arm. They were unwieldy, dropsical-looking, and grossly misshapen. Should also be added that from the fungus growths there arose a very sickening stench, which was hard to tolerate. Finally, to add a further burden to his trouble, the wretched man, when a boy, developed a hip disease which left him permanently lame, only able to walk with the help of a stick, and therewith unable to escape from any of his tormentors.
Mr. Treves, you've shown a profound and unknown disorder to us. You said when he leaves here it is for his exhibition again. I do not think it ought to be permitted. It is a disgrace. It is a pity and a disgrace. It is an indecency, in fact. It may be a danger in ways we do not know. Something ought to be done about it.
Well, I'm a doctor. What would you have me do?
Well, I know what to do. I know.
Now, my little spidery darling, your attention please. Every freak in Brussels Fair is doing something to celebrate Leopold's 5th year as King of the Congo. No, not yet, you moron! I'll say when. And when you do get it right, you don't, it's back to the asylum. Know what that means, don't you? They'll cut your head. They'll spoon out your little brain, replace it in the dachshund it was nicked from. Cut you. Yeah. I'll be back with the customers. Come see the Queen of the Congo.
Cosmos! The Queen of the Cosmos.
Congo, land of darkness. Look at her, lad. It's freer on the continent. Loads of indecency here, no one minds. You won't get coppers sent round to roust you out like London. I reckon in Brussels, here's our fortune. You two have a little tete-a-tete while I see the coppers about our license to exhibit. Be right back.
Hello? I come from England. At home they chased us. Out of London. It was police. Someone complained. And they beat me. But you have no trouble, no. In Belgium we make money. I'm looking forward to it. Happiness, I mean. You pay your police? How is it done? Let's do a show together sometime, yes? I've saved £48, 9 shilling, 2 pence. English money. And Russ takes care of it. Little vocabulary problems. But look at you. You look like they put your nose to the grindstone and forgot to take it away. No. Don't cry. Don't cry. It was a joke. It was a joke. Don't cry.
I was promised a permit. I lined up a tour on that.
This is a public, indecent, and immoral display. This is a public indecency and it is forbidden here.
What about her?
She's ours.
Competition is good for business. Where's your spirit of competition?
Right here!
God, don't do that. You'll kill him.
Be better off dead, indecent bastard!
Don't cry. It doesn't hurt. So Ostend will mean bad memories, Ross, won't it?
Ah! I've decided I'm sending you back, lad. You're a flop. No, you're a liability. You ain't the moneymaker, I figured, so that's it.
Alone?
Here's a few bob. Have a nosh. I'm keeping the rest for my trouble. I deserve it, I reckon. Invested enough with you. Pick up your stink if I stick around. Stink of failure. Stink of lost years. Just stink, stink, stink.
Rum!
Stink!
This the one?
Just see him to Liverpool Street Station safe, will you? Here's for your trouble.
Rum!
What's he say?
Just make sounds. Fella's an imbecile. Bon voyage, Johnny. His name's Johnny. He knows his name. That's all, though.
Follow him, Johnny. Johnny, come on boat now. Conductor find Johnny, place out of sight. Johnny, don't struggle, Johnny. Johnny, come on. Liverpool Street Station.
We are safe in here. I barred the door.
They wanted to rip him to pieces. I've never seen anything like it. It was like being gored in a bleeding cartoon.
Got somewhere to go in London, lad? Can't stay here.
He's an imbecile. He don't understand. Search him.
Got any money? What's that?
He just makes sounds. Frightened sounds all he makes. Go through his clothes.
Hey, if you don't let me go through your clothes, I'll turn you over to that lodge. Hey. I'm joking. Don't upset yourself.
Joke! Joke!
Yeah, croak!
Jesus.
Got something here. Got a card. You, Johnny Merrick. What's this old card doing here, Johnny? Someone give you a card.
What's it say?
Says Mr. Frederick Treves, lecturer, anatomy, the London Hospital.
I'll go see if I can find him. It's not far.
What's he do? Lecture you on your anatomy? People who think right don't look like that, do they? Do they? Come, poor bastard! Come!
Jesus!
Yes, Treves, save me!
What is going on here? Have you seen that mob outside? Have you no sense of decency? I'm Frederick Treves. This is my card.
This poor wretch here had it, arrived from Ostend.
Lord Merrick? John Merrick? What has happened to you?
Help me!
And you are Miss Sandwich?
Sandwich, yes.
Yes. And you've had experience in missionary hospitals in the Niger?
And Ceylon.
Ceylon. And I may assume you've seen...
The tropics. Oh, those diseases. The many and awful scourges our Lord sends. Yes, sir.
I need the help of an experienced nurse, you see?
Someone to take care of the room, bring him food. Yes, I understand, but it is somehow difficult.
Yes, well, I've been let down so far. He really is. Well, by the regular sisters, that is. They simply will not do it. Be ordinarily kind to him without, well, panicking. He's quite beyond ugly. You understand that? His appearance has terrified them.
Well, the photographs do show a terrible disease.
It is a disorder, not a disease, as in it's in no way contagious, though we don't in fact know exactly what it is, but in any case, I've found that there is a deep superstition in those I've tried. They somehow believe that he brought it upon himself, this thing, and of course it is not that at all.
Well, I am not one who believes it is ourselves to attain grace or bring chastity Madonna, sir.
Miss Sandwich, I'm hoping not.
Let me put your mind to rest. Care for lepers in the East, and you have cared, Mr. Treves. In Africa, I've seen some dreadful scourges quite unknown to our more civilized climes. I mean, what at home could be worse than a miserable and afflicted, rotting black?
I imagine.
Appearances do not daunt me, sir.
It is really that has sent me outside the confines of the London seeking help.
I look upon the hills whence cometh my help. I understand. I think I will be satisfactory.
Very good. His lunch. I will introduce you.
Allow me to carry the tray?
I will this time. He has bathed to be rid of his odor. John, my boy. This is Miss Sandwich. She's a trained nurse. She'll be coming here to help out with your care, and she'll be bringing you food and.
Oh my good God in heaven! I can't do this.
Sorry. Thought.
Thank you for saving the lunch this time.
Excuse me. You have let me down, you know. I did everything I could to warn you, and you still let me down.
You didn't say. You said just words.
But the photograph.
Just pictures. No one will do this. I'm sorry.
Yes, well, this is not helping him.
With what fortitude he bears his cross. It is remarkable. He has made acquaintance of religion and knows sections of the Bible by heart. Once I grasped his speech, it became clear he certainly had religious instruction at one point.
Yes, and I believe it was in the workhouse, Bishop Howe.
Of course, they are awfully good at that sometimes. The Psalms he loves, and the book of Job perplexes him, for he cannot see that a just God must cause suffering merely then to be merciful, so he is not resentful.
Christ the better. Be damned if we can.
In any case, Mr. Treves, he has a religious nature. Further instruction would uplift him, and I'd be pleased to provide it. I plan, in fact, to speak of him from the pulpit this week.
I see our visiting bather has flushed the busy Bishop Howe from his cruciform lair.
Speak with Merrick, sir. I've spoken to him of mercy and justice. There is a true Christian in the rough.
Well, this makes my news seem banal. Yet yes. Frederick, the response to my letter to the Times about Merrick has been staggering. The English public has been so generous that Merrick may be supported for life without a penny spent from hospital funds.
But that is excellent news, sir.
God bless the English public.
Especially for not dismembering him at Liverpool Street Station. Freddie, London's no home for incurables. This is quite irregular. For you, I permit it. Though God knows what you'll do.
Oh, God does know, sir. Darwin does not.
He'd better, sir. He deformed him.
I had apprehensions coming here. I find it most fortunate Merrick is in the hands of Mr. Treves, a Christian, sir.
Freddie's a good man and a brilliant doctor, and that is fortunate indeed.
I couldn't have raised the funds without you, though, Doctor.
Don't let me keep you longer from your duties, Mr. Treves. Yet, Mr. Gum, consider, is it science, sir, that motivates us when we transport English rule of law to India or Ireland? When good British churchmen leave home and hearth for missionary hardship in Africa, is it science that bears them away? No, sir, it is not science. It is Christian duty. It is the obligation to bring our light and benefices to benighted men. That motivates us, even as it motivates Treves toward Merrick, to bring salvation where none is. Gordon was a Christian, sir, and he died at Khartoum for it. Not for science, sir.
You're telling me not for science.
Mr. Treves, I plan to visit Merrick weekly, if I may.
You'll be most welcome, sir, I'm certain.
Then good day, sirs.
Well, Jesus, my boy, now that we have the money, what do you plan for Merrick?
Normality as far as is possible.
So he will be like us? Ah.
Is there something wrong, Mr. Gong? With us?
How long is as long as I like?
Well, you may stay here for life. The funds exist.
Well, I've been reading about this home for the blind. I wouldn't mind moving to one when I have to move.
But you don't have to move, and you're not blind.
I would prefer it where no one stared at me.
No one will bother you here.
Oh, certainly not. I've given instructions.
What did I tell you? God almighty, soda. Oh my god.
Oh, Mr. Treves, Mr. Gum.
You were told not to do this. I don't understand. You must not lurk about. Surely you must have work to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, it is infuriating. When you are told something, you must listen. I will not have you gaping in on my patients like that.
But he isn't a patient.
Do not let me find you here again.
Yes, sir. We didn't know you were here, so we'll be off now.
No, Will. Mr. Trees was precisely saying that no one would intrude when you intruded.
Well, they are warned now. Merrick does not like it.
She was warned before. On what penalty, Will?
That you'd sack me, sir?
You are sacked, Will. You, her friend. You work here?
Just started last week, sir, yes.
Well, I hope the point is taken now.
But, Mr. Gum, I ain't truly sacked now, am I?
Well, yes. Truly sacked. You will never be more truly sacked.
But, Mr. Gum, it isn't me. My husband ain't well, and my sister's got to take care of him and of her kids. Well,
Think of them first next time.
but it isn't as if I interfered with his medicine.
That's exactly what it is. You may go.
Just keeping him to look at in private. That's all, isn't it?
There are priorities, Frederick. The first is discipline. Smooth is the passage to the tight ship's master. Merrick, you're safe from prying now.
Have we nothing to say, John?
Well, if everyone that stared at me had been sacked, there'd be whole towns out of work.
I meant thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We always do say please and thank you, don't we, John?
Yes, sir.
Yes, if we want to properly be like others.
Yes, sir, I want to.
Yes, then it is for our own good. Is it not so?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Gong.
Sir, you're welcome.
You are happy here, are you not, John?
Yes, sir.
The bath has rid you of your odor,
Well, it is the first chance I had to bathe regular.
and 3 meals a day delivered right to your room.
Yes, sir.
This must be your promised land, John. A roof and food and protection and care. Is it not so?
Right, Mr. Treves.
I will bet you don't know what to call this.
No.
You call it a home.
I've never had a home before.
Well, you have one now, John. Go on, say it. Home.
Home.
No. Really say it. I have a home. This is my home. Go ahead, John.
I have a home! This is my home! I have a home! This is my home. For as long as I like,
Well, yes, that is what a home is.
that is what is home.
If I abide by the rules, I will be happy.
Okay.
Don't be shy, John. You can say it.
If I abide by the rules, I will be happy.
Very good. Why?
By what?
Why will you be happy?
Because this is my home!
No. Why do rules make you happy, John?
I don't know.
But of course you do.
No, sir, I really don't.
Well, why does anything make you happy, John?
Like what? Like what?
Don't be upset. Rules make us happy because they are for our own good.
Okay.
Go ahead, John. Don't be shy.
This is my home.
No, the part about rules making us happy?
They make us happy because they are for our own good.
Excellent! Now, I am writing a follow-up paper on you to the London Pathological Society, and it would help me if you could tell me what you recall about your early years, you know, to fill in gaps.
To fill in gaps. The workhouse where they put me. They beat you there. Like a drum. Boom. 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 Scrape the floor white, shine the pan. Boom. Boom. It never ends. The floor was always dirty and the pan was always tarnished. There was nothing you could do about it. You were always attacked anyways. Boom. 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 Will the children go to a workhouse?
What children?
The children, the woman he sacked.
Oh, yes, Will will have to find other employment out of necessity. But you don't want her staring at you, do you?
No.
In your own home? You don't have to have crowds or anyone staring at you in your own home?
No, sir.
Then Mr. Gom was merciful. And you yourself are proof. Is it not, sir?
Well, if your mercy is so cruel, Mr. Treves, what do you have for justice?
I'm sorry, John. It is just the way things are.
Boom! 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 Boom!
You have seen photographs of John Merrick, Miss Kennedy. You're acquainted with his appearance?
Yeah, he reminds me of an audience I played Cleopatra for in Brighton once. All huge grim head, grimace, and utterly unable to clap.
Well, my aim is to lead him to as normal a life as possible. I believe his terror from us all comes from having been held at arm's length from society all these years, and I'm determined that shall end. For example, he loves to meet people and converse, and I'm determined he shall. For example, again, he had never seen the inside of any normal home before until I had him to mine, and what a reward, Miss Kendall! His joy, his astonishment at the purest, most simple things. Most crucial, I feel, however, are women. I will explain. They have always shown the greatest fear and loathing of him while he adores them, of course.
Ah, he is intelligent.
Yes. So, I'm convinced they are the key to retrieving him from his exclusion. But I must warn you, women are not quite real to him, more creatures of his imagination.
Well, he's already like other men, Mr. Treves.
Yes. So I thought an actress could help. I mean, after all, you're not like other women. You are trained. You will not give in. You will hide your true feelings, and you will assume others.
No. What you mean to say is that I'm not like other women because, well, I'm famous for it. That's really all.
In any case, if you could enter the room and smile and wish him a good morning, and when you leave, you could shake his hand. The left one is usable and really quite beautiful. And you could say, "I am very pleased to have made your acquaintance, Mr. Merrick."
Shall we try it?
Yes.
Okay. Left hand up, please. I am very pleased to have made your acquaintance, Mr. Merrick. Stop it. I'm very pleased to to have made your acquaintance, Mr. Merrick. No. I am very pleased to have made your acquaintance, Mr. Merrick. Okay. I am very pleased to have made your acquaintance, Mr. Merrick. That one.
That one.
I know.
Yes. Yes. Merrick will be so pleased. It'll be the day he becomes a man like other men.
Speaking of that, Mr. Treves.
Oh, Frederick, please.
Oh, Freddie. May I commit an indiscretion?
Well, yes.
Well, right. I couldn't help but noticing from the photographs that of the unafflicted parts.
Oh. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I see. I understand. No. No. It is quite normal.
Right. No, I figured.
Yes. Well. As you can see from the papillomatous extrusions, which disfigure him, they seem to correspond quite regularly with the osseous deformities.
Right.
Yeah. Excuse me. There is a link between the bone disorder and the skin growth. And although I not found exactly what it is or why it is, but this part is rather unlikely to be afflicted because there's no bone in it. None at all.
Well, we learn a little every day, don't we?
I'm horribly embarrassed.
Are you? Then he must be lonely indeed.
He's making drawings of St. Philip's Church. He wants to make a model someday. John, my boy, this is Miss Kendall. She would very much like to make your acquaintance.
Good morning, Mr. Merrick.
I will see to a few matters. I will be right back.
I thought of so many things to say and I forget them. You're beautiful.
How charming, Mr. Merrick.
Well, really, that is what I planned to say, that I forget what I planned to say. I couldn't think of anything else because I was so excited.
Real charm is always planned, don't you think?
Well, I do not know why I look like this, Miss Kendall. My mother was beautiful. She was knocked down by a circus elephant while she was pregnant. Something must have happened, don't you think?
It may well have.
It may well have. But you know, sometimes I think my head is so big because it is full of dreams. Because it is. Do you know what happens when dreams cannot get out?
No?
I don't either. But something must, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So, Mr. Treves says you're a famous actress?
I'm not unknown.
So you must display yourself for a living then, like I used to display myself.
No, that is not myself, Mr. Merrick. It is an illusion. This is myself.
This is myself too.
Frederick says you like to read. So, books.
Yes, I'm reading Romeo and Juliet now.
Oh, Juliet, what a love story. I adore love stories.
I like love stories best too. If I'd been Romeo, guess what?
What?
What I would have not held the mirror to her breath.
Oh, you mean the scene where Juliet appears to be dead and he holds the mirror to her breath and he sees
Nothing. He sees nothing. How does it feel when he just kills himself because he sees nothing?
Well, my experience as Juliet has been particularly with an actor I will not name, that while I'm lying there, dead, and he's lamenting excessively, I get to thinking that if this slab of ham does not part from the ham hock of his life, tout suite, I'm going to scream, pop off the tomb, and plunge a dagger into his scene-stealing heart of... Romeos are very undependable.
Because he doesn't care for Juliet.
Not care.
Well, does he take her pulse? Does he get a doctor? Does he make sure? No! He kills himself. The illusion fools him because he doesn't care for Juliet. He only cares about himself. And if I'd been Romeo, we would have got away.
But then there would be no play, Mr. Merrick.
Well, why should there be a play if he doesn't love her? Looking in a mirror and seeing nothing, that is not love, Miss Kendall. It is an illusion. And when the illusion ended, he had to kill himself.
That is extraordinary.
Before I spoke with all those people, I didn't think these things. There was no one to bother to think them for. And now things just come out of my mouth and they are true.
You're famous, John!
Look!
We are in the papers! They have written up my report to the Pathological Society.
Look!
Frederick, I feel Mr. Merrick would benefit by even more company than you provide. In fact, by being acquainted with the very best and they with him. I shall make it my task if you'll allow it. As you know, I am friends of nearly everyone and I do very well as I please. And what pleases me is this task, I think.
By God, Miss Kendall, you're splendid.
Mr. Merrick, I must go now, but I should like to return if I may, and so that we may without delay teach you about society, I should like to bring my good friend Dorothy, Lady Neville. She would be most pleased if she could make your acquaintance. Will you let me tell her?
Yes.
Then, until next time, Mr. Merrick, I'm sure your church drawings will surprise us all. It's been a very great pleasure to make your acquaintance.
John, your hand. She wishes to shake your hand.
Thank you for coming.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
What a wonderful success. Did you know he's never shook a woman's hand before?
Your Grace.
How nicely the drawing is coming along, Mr. Merrick. I've come to say Happy Christmas, and that I hope you will enjoy this ring and remember your friend by it.
Oh, thank you, Your Grace.
I'm very pleased to have made your acquaintance.
Please accept these silverback brushes and combs for Christmas, Mr. Merrick.
With many thanks, Countess.
I'm very pleased to have made your acquaintance.
Great news, John. Bertie says we may use the royal box whenever I'd like. And Miss Keppel says it gives a unique perspective. And for Christmas, ivory-handled razors and toothbrush.
And a cigarette case, my boy, full of cigarettes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, look, Freddie, the drawing of St. Philip's.
Oh, it's remarkable, I know.
And I do it with just one hand, they all say.
You're an artist, John Merrick. An artist.
Oh, you know, I didn't begin to draw it first. Not until I saw what St. Philip's really was. It is not just stone and steel and glass. It is an imitation of grace flying up and up from the mud. So I make my imitation of an imitation, and even in that is heaven to me, Miss Kendall.
That thought's got a good line, John. Plato believed that this was all a world of illusion, and that artists made illusions of heaven.
You mean we're just copies of originals?
That's it.
Who made the copies?
Well, God, the demiurge.
Well, he should have used both hands, shouldn't he?
Why all those toilet articles? He's much too deformed to use any of them.
Props, of course, to make himself. Like I make me.
You? You think of yourself.
Well, he's gentle, almost feminine, cheerful, honest, within limit, a serious artist in his way. He's almost like me.
He is religious and devout. He knows salvation must radiate to us or all is lost, which is certainly not.
He seems practical, like me. He has seen enough of daily evil to be thankful for small goods that come his way. He knows what side his bread is buttered on and counts his blessings for it, like me.
I can speak with him of anything, for I know he is discreet, like me.
How odd. I think him curious, compassionate, and concerned with the world. Well, rather like myself. Freddie Treves, 1889 AD.
Of course, he is rather odd and hurt and helpless not to show the struggling. So am I.
He knows I use him to raise money for the London. I'm certain. He understands I would be derelict if I didn't. He's wary of any promise, yet he fits in well, like me.
I, as a seminarist, had many of the same doubts, struggled as he does, and hope they may be overcome.
Merrick, visibly worse than 86, 87. That as he rises higher in the consolations of society, he becomes visibly more grotesque, is proof definitive he is like me. Like his condition, which I make no sense of. I make no sense of mine. But the papers are saying that you've broken the contracts. They're saying you've lost the money, Lord John.
Freddie. If I were such a scoundrel, how would I dare face investors like yourself? Broken contracts. I never considered them to be actual contracts. They were just preliminary things to get the old deal underway. A contract, my friend, is something between gentlemen, and this attack on me shows they are no gentlemen. Now, Freddie, I'm only here to say the company remains a terribly attractive proposition, don't you think? Now, to recapitalize, if you could spare some... Mr. Gum, so nice to see you. Just remarking how splendidly Merrick thrives here thanks to you, and of course thanks to Merrick. Freddie, sorry.
Lord John, allow me. I must take Frederick from you. Keep him at work. It's in his contract. Wouldn't want him breaking it. Sort of thing makes the world fly apart, isn't it?
Well, of course.
Sorry to hear you're so pressed. Expect we'll see less of you around the London now.
Well, actually, appointment in the city. Overdue, actually. Freddie, Mr. Gum.
He has plain fooled me. He was kind to Merrick.
You've risen fast and easily, my boy. You forgot how to protect yourself. Break now.
Does not seem right somehow.
The man's a moral swamp. Is that not clear yet? Is he attractive? Deceit often is. Friendly? Swindlers can be. Another loan? Not another cent. It may be your money, Freddie, but I will not tolerate labouring like a navvy that the London may represent honest, compassionate and charitable sons and have titled swindlers mucking up the pitch. He has succeeded in destroying himself so rapidly. You ought not doubt for an instant it was his real aim all along. He broke the contracts, gambled the money away, lied, and like an infant in his mess, gurgles and wants to do it again. Never mind details. Don't want to know. Break and be glad. Don't hesitate. Today. One man moral swamp. Don't be sucked in.
Have you seen the papers?
Yes.
Yes. A great pity. Freddie, today.
Freddie?
Yes, Eustace. I shall be all right. Come. John, I will not be able to stay this visit. I have a few matters I need to unravel. But Ness Island and Snow...
They're friendly and respectful, Frederick.
Very good. I'll look in a few days.
Did I do something wrong?
No.
John, this is a hospital, not a marketplace. Don't forget it. Ever. I'm sorry, John. Not you. Me.
Shall we weave today? Don't you think weaving might be fun? So many things are fun and most men don't enjoy them, but you know, it's their loss, don't you? I really like those activities which engage me, you know? There's something so ancient in it, I don't know, like before all this. Would you like to try, John?
Frederick said I may stay here for life.
And so you shall.
But if he is in trouble, Miss Kendall.
Frederick is your protector, John.
But if he is in trouble.
Who is that? Oh. Is that your mother? She's beautiful, isn't she?
Will Frederick keep his word with me? His contract. Miss Kendall, if he is in trouble.
But contract, did you say?
Will you?
What will I?
No.
Say it.
Miss Kendall, may I commit an indiscretion? The prince had a mistress. The Irishman has a mistress. Everybody seems to have a mistress or a wife. Some have both. I have concluded I need a mistress.
Oh.
It is bad enough not to sleep like others.
Sitting up, you mean? Couldn't be very restful.
Well, it is too heavy to lie down, my head. But no, sleeping alone, that is the worst of all.
Oh, the artist expressing his love through his works. That is civilization.
Aren't you very shocked?
Why should I be?
Well, others would be.
I'm not others.
Thought you might have a few ideas.
Oh, I can guess who has a few ideas here.
You don't know something. I've never even seen a naked woman.
Surely in all the fairs you've worked?
No, a real woman.
Is one more real than another?
Like the ones in the opera or the theater.
Surely you can't mean that they're more real.
In the audience. Someone not deformed by an awful life. Not worn out early. Someone kept up. A lady. Respectful of herself. Oh, you don't know what fairgrounds are like, Miss Kendall.
You mean someone like Princess Alexandra?
Too old.
Like Lady Ellen?
No, she doesn't look happy.
Like Dorothy?
Too thin.
Then who?
Well, certain women, they have a kind of ripeness to them. Oh, they seem to stop at the perfect point.
My dear, she doesn't exist.
Oh, which is probably why I never met her.
What would your friend Bishop Howe say about this, I wonder?
He says, I should put these ideas out of my mind.
Oh, is that the best he can suggest?
Well, I put them out of my mind and they just reappear. Snap.
What about Frederick?
Oh, Frederick Treves. He would be appalled if I told him.
I'm flattered. Too little trust has maimed my life, but that's another story.
What a rain. Are we going to read this afternoon?
Yes, some women are lucky to look well, but that's really all. It's a rather arbitrary gift, you see. It has no real uses. It has uses, I will admit that. Anyway, it does not signify very much.
To me it does.
Well, you are mistaken.
What are we going to read?
Trust is very important, you know. I trust you.
Thank you very much. And I have a book by Thomas Hardy's here. He's a friend of Frederick's. Should we read that?
Turn around a moment. Don't look.
Is this a game?
I wouldn't call it a game. A surprise?
Ooh, what kind of a surprise?
I saw photographs of you before we met. You didn't know that, did you?
The ones from the first time in '84? I didn't.
I felt it was unjust somehow. I don't know why. I cannot say my sense of justice is my most highly developed characteristic. You may turn around again. Well, a little funny, isn't it?
It is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Ever.
If you tell anyone, I shall not see you again. We shall not speak, we shall not read, we shall do nothing. Wait. There. No illusions. Now, but what is there to say? I'm extremely pleased to have made your acquaintance.
For God's sake, what is going on here? What is going on?
For a moment, Freddie. Paradise.
Oh, but have you no sense of decency, woman? Dress yourself! Quickly! And you? Are you not ashamed? Don't you know what you are? Don't you know what is forbidden?
I come actually to ask your forgiveness.
I found a good home, Ross. I forgave you.
I was hoping we could work out a deal. Something new, maybe.
No.
See, I was counting on it. That you were kind-hearted, like myself. Some things don't change. Got to put your money on the things that don't, I figure. I figure, from what I read about you, you don't change. Dukes, ladies coming to see you. Ask myself why. I figure it's the same as always was. Makes them feel good about themselves by comparison. Them things don't change. They're but for the grace of... So I figure you're selling the same service as always to a better clientele. Difference now is you ain't charging for it.
You make me sound like a whore.
You are! I am. They are. Most are. No disgrace, John. Disgrace is to be a stupid whore. Give it for free. Not capitalize on the interest in you. Not to have a manager then is stupid.
Do you see this church, Ross? I'm painting it. And the people who visit are friends, not clients. I'm not a dog walking on its hind legs.
I was thinking, charge these people. Pleasure of the Elephant Man's company, something. Right spirit is everything. Do it in the right spirit, they pay happily. I'd take 10%. I'd be okay with 10%.
Oh, Ross, bad luck has made you daft.
I discovered you, John. Helped you. Was that daft? No. Only daftness was being at a gold mine without a shovel. Without proper connections like Treves has. What's daft? Ross sows, Treves harvests? Tisn't fair, is it, John? When you think about it. I do think about it. Because I'm old. Got something in my throat, you may have noticed. Something in my lung here, too. Something in my belly, I guess, too. I'm not a heap of health, am I? But I'd do well with 10%. I don't need more than 10%. 10% will give me a future slightly better than a cobblestone. This lot would pay if you asked in the right spirit.
They are the cream, Ross, and they know it. And a man like you tries to make them pay, they walk away.
I'm talking about doing it in the right spirit.
They are my friends! I lose everything for you, Ross, so you lived your life. And you robbed me of 48 pounds, 9 shillings, 2 pence. You left me to die. And now you come back and went to rob me again. Will you not be satisfied? You kept me like an animal in the darkness, and now I'm a man like others. You want me to return?
Had a woman yet?
Oh, is that what makes a man?
In my time, it'd do for us.
Not what makes this one! But I am like others, Ross.
Then I'm condemned. I got no energy to try nothing new. I may well go to the Doss House straight. Die there anyway, between filthy Doss House rags. Nothing in the belly but acid. I don't like pain, John. The future gives pain sense. Without a future, 5%?
Oh, Ross, I'm sorry. It is just the way things are.
My God. Then I am lost.
Frederick, do you believe in heaven? What about hell? What about God? What about Christ? I believe in heaven. The Bible promises in heaven the crooked shall be made straight.
Yes, so did the rack, my boy. So do we all.
So you don't believe?
Well, I will settle for a reliable general anesthetic at this point. Actually, though, I had a patient once, a woman, came to me for a woman's thing. Used ether on her to anesthetize. It was tricky stuff. She didn't come out of it. Pulse stopped. No vital signs. Absolutely moribund. Just a big white dead mackerel. Till 5 minutes later, she fretted back to existence like a lost explorer with a great scoop of the undiscovered.
She saw heaven.
Well, it was neither hellish nor heavenly, more like perambulating through a London fog. People drifted by, but nobody spoke. London, mind you. Hell's probably the provinces. She was shocked it wasn't more exotic, but allowed as how had she stayed and got used to the familiar, so to say, it'd have hints of becoming a kind of bliss. She fled.
So if you don't believe, why did you send Miss Kendall away?
Don't forget, it saved you once before my intervention. You know well enough it was not proper.
Well, how can you tell if you don't believe?
Well, there are still standards we abide by.
Oh. They make us happy because they are for our own good.
Well, not always.
Oh.
Look, if you're angry, John, just say it.
Whose standards are they?
I'm not in the mood for this chipping away at the edges,
That do
John.
not always make us happy because they are not always for our own good.
Everyone's. Well, mine. Everyone's.
That woman's? Frederick? That Juliet?
Juliet?
The one who died and then came back.
Oh, yes. Her standards too.
So?
So what?
So, did you see her naked?
Well, when I was operating, of course.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Oh, it is okay to see them naked if you cut them up afterwards.
Good Lord, John, I'm a surgeon. This is science.
She died, Frederick. Miss Kendall didn't.
Well, she came back too.
Miss Kendall did not come back, if that is what you mean.
John, I'm trying to read about anesthetics. There is simply no comparison.
Oh.
Science is a different thing. This woman came to me to be, well, It was not love, you know?
Oh, that is why you're looking for general anesthetics.
Yes, it would be a boon to surgery.
Because you don't love them!
Love's got nothing to do with surgery.
Do you lose many patients?
Some.
Oh.
Oh, what? What does it matter? What does it matter if any surgeon loves her or anybody else? What does it matter? And what conceivable difference to you?
Because it is your standards, Frederick, we abide by.
For God's sake, John, if you're angry, just say so. Go on, say it. I won't turn you out. Say it. I am angry.
I believe in heaven.
And it is not okay if they undress, if you cut them up afterwards, as you put it, making me sound like Jack the fucking Ripper.
Oh no, you just worry about your general anesthetic.
Are you having me on?
No! You're merciful. You're merciful. I myself am proof of that. Is it not so? Well, merciful Frederick, is it not so?
Oh, About Miss Kendall. Perhaps I was wrong. I seem to be losing my head these days. Taking too much on, perhaps. Don't know what's gotten in me.
Will she come back?
I will talk to her again.
But will she come back?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
There are other things involved. Very, very other things.
Other things. Frederick, I want to think other things. I want to walk now. Why won't she come back?
Because I don't want her here when you die.
To see if he's merely papier-mâché paint, a swindler and a fake.
No. A genuine Dorset dreamer in a moral swamp. Look! He so forgot how to protect himself, he's gone to sleep.
I must examine him. I would not like to keep him for long, Mr. Gong.
It won't be an inconvenience, Mr. Merrick. He's a mainstay of our institution.
Yes, and exactly that brought him to my attention. I am Merrick.
This is my card. I'm with Mutations across the road.
Frederick, stand up. You must understand, he's very, very valuable. We've invested a great deal in him. He's personal surgeon to the Prince of Wales.
And I only wish to examine him. I had of course not dreamt of changing him.
But he's a gentleman and a good man.
Therefore, exemplary to our study as a cruel or a deviant one would not be.
Very well. Have him back for breakfast time or you feed him. Frederick, stand up. Up, you bloody donkey, up!
The most striking feature about him, note, his terrifyingly normal head. This allowed him to lie down normally and to dream in the exclusive personal manner without the weight of others' dreams accumulating to break his neck. From the brow projected a vision of benevolent enlightenment, what we believe to be kind of a self-mesmerized state. The mouth, deformed by satisfaction. And being at the hub of best of existent worlds, was rendered utterly incapable of self-critical speech, thus the ability to change. The heart, Oh, the heart showed signs of worry at this unchanging yet untenable state. The back was horribly stiff from being kept against a wall to face the discontent of a world ordered for his convenience. The surgeon's hands were well developed and strong, capable of the most delicate carvings up for others' own good. Due also to the normal head, the right arm was of enormous power, but so incapable of the distinction between assertion of authority and the charitable act of giving that it was often found disgustingly beating others for their own good. The left arm was slighter and fairer and may be seen in typical position, the hand covering the genitals, which were treated in a solemn colony in constant need of restriction, governance, punishment for their own good. To add a further burden to his troubles, the wretched man when a boy developed a disabling spiritual duality and was therefore unable to feel what others feel nor reach harmony with them. Right? He was thus denied all means of escape from those he had tormented.
Mr. Merrick, you've shown a profound and unknown disorder to us. You've said when he leaves here it is for his prior life again. I do not think it ought to be permitted. It is a disgrace. It is a pity and a disgrace. It is an indecency, in fact. It may be a danger in ways we do not know. Something ought to be done about it.
Yes, I understand, and we hope that in 20 years we will understand enough to put an end to this affliction.
20 years? That is unacceptable.
Had we caught it early, it might have been different, but his condition has already both spread east and west, and the truth is, I am afraid, we are dealing with an epidemic.
Still beavering away for Christ.
Yes.
I got your report. He doesn't know, does he?
Well, the bishop.
And then Merrick.
No.
I shall be sorry when he dies.
But will not be unexpected anyway.
He's brought the hospital quite a lot of good repute. Quite a lot of contributions too, for that matter. In fact, I like him. Never regretted letting him stay on. But I didn't imagine he'd last this long.
Well, his heart won't sustain him much longer. May even give off when he gets off his bloody knees with that bloody man over there.
What is it, Freddie? What has gone sour for you?
It's just the over air of things. Quite inescapable that as he's achieved greater and greater normality, his conditions edged him closer to the grave. So what? It's a parable of growing up. To become more normal is to die, more accepted to worsen. It's just a mockery of everything we live by.
Sorry, Freddie. Didn't catch that one.
Nothing's gone sour. I don't know.
Cheer up, man. You're knighted. Your clients will be kings. Nothing succeeds, my boy, like success.
I find my sessions with him utterly moving. He struggles so. I suggested he might like to be confirmed, and he left at it like a man lost in a desert to an oasis.
Yes, he's very excited to do what others do, if he thinks it is what others do.
Do you cast doubt, sir, on his faith?
No. no, sir, I do not. Yet he makes all of us think he's deeply like ourselves, and yet we're not like each other. I conclude that we have polished him like a mirror, and we shout hallelujah when he reflects us to the end, and I've grown sorry for it.
I cannot make out what you are saying. Is something troubling you, Mr. Treves?
Yes. Corsets. What about corsets? Here is a pamphlet I've written due mostly to the grotesque ailments I've seen caused by corsets. Fashion overrules me, of course, so my patients do not unstrap themselves of their corsets. Some cannot. You know, I've so very little time. I spend Sundays at the Bulwarks just to keep up with work. Work being 20-year-old women looking an abused 50 with worn-outedness. And young men with appalling industrial conditions whom I shovel back out to their labor as fast as possible. Luckily, most of my patients are not poor. They are middle class. They overeat and drink so grossly they destroy natures within themselves and around them so fervidly they will not last. Higher up, sir, above this middle class, I confront these same deformities bulged out by unlimited resources and the ruthlessness of privilege into the most scandalous dissipation, yoked to the grossest ignorance and constraint. I counsel against it where I can. I am ignored, of course. Then what, sir, could be troubling me? I am an extremely successful Englishman in a successful and respected England, which informs me daily by the way it lives that it wants to die. I am in despair. In fact, science, observation, practice, and deduction having led me to this conclusion can no longer serve as consolation. I apparently see things others don't.
I wish I understood you better, sir, but as for consolation, there is in Christ Church consolation.
Yes, I'm sure we were not born for mere consolation.
But look at Mr. Merrick's happy example.
Oh, yes. And you'd like my garden too? My wife, my daughter, my dog, all pruned, dropped, pollarded, and someone stupefied. Very happy examples, all of them! Well, is it all we finally know how to do with whatever nature is it? Rub it? No, not nature. No. I mean ourselves really. I mean myself really rubbed. That is. Can't seem to figure out what else to do with it. Can we?
It's not exactly clear, sir.
I am an awfully good gardener, is that clear? By God, I take such good care of anything like... You are convinced, are you not convinced that he is so very dangerously human? I mean, how could he be after what we've given him? No, what you like, you, is that he's so grateful for a patron, so greedy to be patronized, and for what? Nothing! No rights, no demands, no hopes. His present false, his past perverted, and his future nil. What more could you ask for? He puts up with all of it! And of course, I do mean taken when I say given, as in what we've given him. But you knew that. You knew that, I bet, because I.
Do you mean charity? I cannot tell what you are saying.
Help me.
It is done.
Mr. Merrick. I'll set it up for you. I was thinking, maybe you'd like to take a walk after lunch. You know, April is doing wonders with the garden. Do you remember my friend Will? Her sister died yesterday. 28 she was. Imagine that. Husband sick, sister nurses him. She was a real bloom, that girl. And now, husband okay, and sister just ups and dies. It's also, what's that word? It means chancy. Forget it. Chancy will do. Well, Mr. Merrick, have a good lunch. I remember. The word is arbitrary. It's all just so... Mr. Merrick? Hey. Mr. Merrick? Mr. Merrick? The Elephant Man is dead. The Elephant Man is dead. The Elephant Man is dead! The Elephant Man is dead!
To the editor of the Times. Sir, in November 1886, you were kind enough to insert in the Times a letter from me drawing attention to the case of Joseph Merrick, known as the...
John Merrick.
Well, known as the Elephant Man. It was one of singular and exceptional misfortune, etc., etc., debarred from earning his livelihood in any other way than being exhibited to the gaze of the curious, this having been rightly interfered with by the police, etc., etc. With great difficulty, he succeeded somehow or other in getting to the door of the London hospital, where, through the kindness of one of our surgeons, he was sheltered for a time. And then, while deterred by common humanity from evicting him again into the open street, I wrote to you, and from that moment all difficulty vanished. The sympathy of many was aroused, and although no other fitting refuge was offered, a sufficient sum was placed at my disposal, apart from the funds of the hospital, to maintain him for what did not promise to be a prolonged life. As I am sure you...
I have just remembered the coroner said it was death by asphyxiation. The weight of his head crushed his windpipe.
Well, I go on to say about how he spent his time here, that all attempted to alleviate his misery, that he was visited by the highest in the land, etc., etc., that in general he joined our lives as best he could. And, in spite of all this indulgence, he was quiet and unassuming, grateful for all that was done for him, and conformed readily to the restrictions which were necessary. Will that do so far, do you think?
Should think it would.
Wouldn't add anything else, would you?
Well, he was highly intelligent, had an acute sensibility, and worst of all, a romantic imagination. No, I'm not certain of any of it.
I have given these details, thinking that those who sent money to use for his support would like to know how their charity was used. Last Friday afternoon, though apparently in his usual health, he quietly passed away in his sleep. I have left in my hands a small balance of the money for his support, and this I now propose, after paying certain gratuities, to hand over to the general funds of the hospital. This course of action, I believe, will be consonant with the wishes of the contributors. It was the courtesy of the Times, in inserting my letter of 1886, that procured for this afflicted man a comfortable protection during the last years of a previously wretched existence, and I desire to take this opportunity of thankfully acknowledging it. I am, sir, your obedient servant, F.C. Cargon, House Committee Room, London Hospital, the 15th of April, 1890.
I did think of one small thing.
It is too late, I'm afraid. It is done.